So good afternoon. So today topic is about our model verification and validation. Okay. So when we are saying over on it, we'll have a different categories of model verifications. So in the different categories, so what we are having over on it now. So verification on the basis of the implementation methodology. Verification on the basis of the implementation methodology. Verification based upon visual inspection and animation. Verification based upon visual inspection and animation, and then verification of the runtime behavior. We'll have a verification of the runtime behavior, and the last one to be the formal verification. Okay, so verification on the basis of the implementation methodology, verification on the basis of the implementation methodology, verification based upon visual inspection and animation, verification of the runtime behavior, and formal verification. So when we are saying about the implementation methodology, so we'll have a different test. The first test says about the plausibility test. Okay, so in the plausibility test, it makes a contribution to verification as well as for the validation. So when it will be true, na? So if they can be performed by means of simple manual calculations, if they can be performed by means of simple manual calculations. Okay, so similarly they are based upon analytical considerations or the results of an initial simulations. So the following criteria could possibly be drawn upon for plausibility test. So what are the possibility following criteria? The first one to be the causality. So the cause should precede effect in reality and in the model. So it should precede effect in reality and in the model. So any deviation from this principle, so it will indicate the serious defects in the model. Okay. Next one to be the balance principle. So the balance principle states that the principles of the condition of the energy and the matter apply not only to the physical reality but also for the model itself. Okay. The principles of the conservation of energy and matter apply not only to the physical reality but also for the model itself. And the third one to be the current or voltage laws. So we'll have a current forces and moments at a point add up to zero. So we'll have a current forces and moments at a point add up to zero. So voltages and velocities add up to zero in a closed loop overordered. So these relationships apply for any electronic or mechanical system with concentrated parameters. So we'll have about currents, forces and moments at a point add up to zero. So we'll have about voltages and velocities add up to zero in a closed loop. These relationships apply for any electronic or mechanical system with concentrated parameters. Whereas in the case of an value range, so we'll have a state and output variables and parameters. So they are normally associated with an applicable range of values. Although this is not necessarily precisely defined, unrealistic values can be recognized very quickly. So, for example, we'll have areas, volumes, energies, and entropy can never be a negative. Okay, and when we are saying about the consistency of units, so model equations are generally formulated without units over that. Nevertheless, it is often worthwhile using the consistency of units as a criteria for verification. And the next one to be the verification on the basis of alternating models. So, if two approaches are independent of each other in terms of methodology as well as for the case of unrealization, so then they can be used for mutual verification. Okay. So an example of this is the mechanical deformation of a rectangular or round plate under load, so which can be calculated very simply in the form of an analytical equation. So the resulting elastic line provides a starting point for the verification of the implementation of finite and the mechanical elements. And the next one, verification based upon visual inspection and animations. So we'll have a simulators for hardware description languages often offer for the use of such tools which permit the representation of sequential modeling code as it is processed. So other forms of visualization are represented by marks in Petri nets or the current state in state diagrams. So however, visualizations can be used not only for the evaluation of the simulation process but also for the representations of the simulation results. So while we are saying in the case of an EG, we'll have a X bar Y diagram, the axis of which is often time. Mechanical behavior, we'll have animation procedures which facilitate a better evaluation of the simulation results and thus for better verification. So when we are going for the verification of the runtime behavior, the tools which are used that identify those parts of a model that contribute significantly to the running time over on it. So this sampling allows us to obtain statistical information on the frequency of the execution of instructions and the modules. And when the next thing we have to see about and formal verification. So if the design and simulation models are exactly the same, there is no need for verification. Occasionally, however, models have also been specially prepared for the simulations, which may be necessary for performance. So when we are going for model validation, the validity of a model is always partially dependent upon the desired applications. So we'll have a four different validity: empirical validity, theoretical validity, pragmatic validity, heuristic validity. So correspondence between measurements and simulations, which states the empirical validity, whereas consistency of a model with accepted theory states the theoretical validity, whereas the capability of the model to fulfill the desired purpose, which is example as a part of regulator, which states the pragmatic validity, potential for testing hypothesis for the explanation of phenomena, and for the experimental, which gives the heuristic validity. So when you are saying a direct validation, which is based upon measured data, validation based upon a system identification, validation based upon the model distortion approach, whereas validation based upon a sensitivity analysis, validation based upon a Monte Carlo simulation, and validation based upon a model hierarchy. So these are all the things which will be directly comes under overall. So we have to see about and what about direct validation based upon measured data. So validation should ensure the correspondence between the executable model and reality. So to achieve this, it is necessary to take measurements on real systems in order to compare these with the results of the simulations. So models are often used to obtain predictions about the future behavior of a system. Whereas in the case of an validation based upon a system identification, so if a model is clearly identifiable, so then the procedure of parameter estimations which can be used to validate a predetermined model structure. So in the first step, the parameters of the model are identified to minimize the difference between the measured and the simulated data. So then the following informations can be obtained about the validity of the model structures over there. So a high standard deviations of the estimated will be depending upon over on it. The next thing we have to do upon a validation based upon the model distortion approach. So the main idea behind this is to calculate the distortions of parameters necessary to obtain simulation results that precisely correspond with the measurements for every point in time. So the gap between nominal parameters and newly determined parameters, which alters from one moment to the next, becomes a measure for the quality of the period over there. And the next one we have to see about and validation based upon a sensitivity analysis. So it is not generally possible to precisely determine the value of the parameters of a simulation model. However, it is almost always possible to define intervals within which the value of a parameter always lies. So the value of a model is questionable if the variation of a parameter within the interval leads to significant variations in the simulations. So validation based upon a Monte Carlo simulations, it is generally not used for the validation of model, but for the evaluation of the yield of fabricated circuits, taking into consideration for the component tolerances over there. So whereas in the case of an validation based upon model hierarchy, so this method aims to achieve the validation of a model based upon the validation of its components, whereby the interconnection of the components occurs directly within the model and thus is non-critical in relation to the validation. Example, in the form of a netlist of components such as transistors, diodes, etc. So if we assume that the netlist represents the actual connection structure of the circuit, then we have to take upon over on it. And the next thing we have to see about and validation based upon inverse model. So to validate the developed model, flight trials are performed in which the pilot has performed to perform a predetermined maneuver. Its control inputs are used as a stimuli for the simulations. A validation of the model cannot be achieved for certain maneuvers because the pilot and the helicopter form a control loop in which even the smallest deviations quickly accumulate to form large discrepancies between reality and the visual world. So this avoids the accumulation of fault described over on it. So thus the validity of the helicopter model is demonstrated on the basis of outputs supplied from the inputs generated using the inverse model. The criteria from the previous section on direct validation based upon measured data can again be applied here over here. So by that the thing, the part gets over now. So the remaining topic that we can see in the next class. Thank you.